there's a lot of noise on social media, and it's very hard to sift through that noise. So I'm pretty sure that newspapers are one of the channels that are working very well, also TV and radio. What would you say are some of the channels that are working right now in 2024 for most businesses?
Well, I think, obviously newspapers and magazines and all the digital stuff is important, but what's really important is the broadcast side of it, because now if you tape something for like Fox Atlanta, it is now being shown all over the country through the Fox archives. Fox reruns them. They need content, so we're providing content for these smaller stations. The other thing is there's a ton of online video right now that has really become viral. It's not just Yahoo Finance or Cheddar, but it's all these other places, TD Ameritrade, which I think is Schwab now, and NASDAQ, and all these other places that really do spend a lot of their money and time talking to players, talking to movers and shakers about their businesses. So I think the online video and also all kinds of broadcasts, not just this syndication I was talking about, but also radio. Radio is an amazing thing. I mean, Sirius has done a great job promoting themselves, and the terrestrial radio still works, believe it or not, and people do pay attention. They do pay attention to radio, so we're big proponents of radio here.
Yeah, some of our accounts on the web agency space, actually, they use radio heavily, particularly for political shows or kind of governmental programs, and they get the type of adoption that podcasts just don't get, right? Mm-hmm. People who listen to the radio, they don't really listen to podcasts. So if you're an audiophile, this is going to be the channel that works. So I'm definitely not surprised that radio is one of the channels that's working really well for you here.
Yeah, well, the thing about podcasts is that we've been in the podcast business since 2014. And, we launched Wondery, and we launched Exactly Right Media, and we launched all these amazing companies. And what's happened is there's now a glut. There's just too many podcasts. And, everybody wants to be on Joe Rogan, but it's not actually going to help you to be on Joe Rogan. You need to be on the podcast that actually fits your business, that actually brings the people to you. And I don't think people are taking the time, particularly when it comes to something like a podcast, to really figure out what's best for them. And we do spend a lot of our time counseling to our clients not to look for these gigantic places where they're going to get lost, and think about the more niche podcast companies or networks and go with them.
There are about 5 million podcasts out there. And give or take, yes. And the funny thing is 99% of them have no more than 21 episodes ever released.
Right.
So when going out on a podcast, you essentially have two options. You either go on an up-and-coming podcast that's most likely 99 out of 100 going to die in the next 21 episodes, or you're trying to go on Joe Rogan's and everyone else's, which are going to be oversaturated. So this is very unlike a radio station that's been around for 30 years, and it's probably going to be here forever, or at least over the next 20 years. And the type of trust, the type of brand credibility and affinity and adoption is so much more different.